mostly ethical media, which is the playthrough we've been doing in this so far. This is our 5th stream of the game. And pretty much what we got... Also, before I forget, Xander, thank you so much for the 10 stream streak. I really do appreciate that and all that good stuff. But where we're at now is at the end of yesterday's stream, I had been aggressively pursuing my direct competitor. And I paused for a reason because stuff's about to get real here. So when you look at the game, you are running a news agency, and the way this kind of works is, let me just talk through the whole working here. So what ends up happening is news stories show up here. That's your telegraphers who generate the news stories. So like this week, we've got 24 news stories that are going to show up this week, and our telegraphers have to go get the connection to that. But they did manage to fit in a whole new set of bugs. Yeah, to be clear, they reworked the engine in Surviving Mars, and one thing that I've always said is that people who will complain is like, but game, you know, whatever iteration is using the same engine as game, the newer iteration. Like that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, because it's really dumb to rework your entire engine. You should update it. But like, you'll have people's like, oh, you didn't give me a new version of the engine, all that. And as someone who's worked in software development for over 15 years, when you replace the engine in a game, all you're doing is trading your hand from your known bugs to new bugs. Now, granted, when you're moving a product forward between, you can get both. But yeah, like I said, they did a massive overhaul, so it doesn't surprise me that there's new bugs. That's pretty par for the course. But yeah, so what ends up happening is we get the telegraphers, you can see this little thing, that dial will fill up, and a news story will appear there. And I can only ever have so many news stories actively pursued as I have telegraphers. So what I end up doing here is I click on that, and I go and I send one of my news reporters to check it out. So like right now I've got Frank Gombert. They're checking out this story coming out of 1930s Germany. It is what it is. And all that. And we'll have like different categories and all that, but you get your news thing. And they look at it, and after a little bit of time, they show back up. And then they go either over here to my editor's desk, who will then, you know, give the story a once-over to make it a little bit better, or they'll go to the typesetter to basically get all the little letters put together to, like, you know, actually make the press for putting in your printing press. This then goes up to the assembler, who kind of makes, like, the final thing, that then ultimately goes up to your printing press. And that's where, you know, paper and ink goes in, it just smashes out a couple 100,000 papers. So that's your basic structure there. Now, on top of that, we do have our competitors. So I got my competitors over here, the Empire Observer and the Jersey Beacon. Now, the Jersey Beacon, I've only taken one of their territories. The Empire Observer, I literally own all of their territories, and I'm on one final mission that, if we go up here, that I need to print at least... Oh, that's the mob. Where's the one for... I thought I'd have an icon up here. Basically, I agreed on a mission to take over... I agreed to a mission to take over their territory. And the big thing was I had to print news in their categories without having a single compromised piece, because what will end up happening is the other news agency will send spies to tamper with your news to make it bad. And normally you get a warning when the spies are going to be coming. In this case, he was like, I'm going to drown you in spies, and the assumption is we're just going to be dealing with spies all week. What I'm a little bothered by is this is the mission for the mob, and this is the mission for the oh. No, that's the mission for the district. So we don't actually have the mission for him listed up here, which is a little annoying because I'm going to struggle to keep track of what I was supposed to publish. We can check it again the next in-game day and see what happens. Yeah, so we want to finish his last mission, get him out of here. And then we have the mob, who I'm 2 ticks away from finishing all the mob stuff, and then I assume we will have some finale story for the mob. And those are kind of our 2 big goals, is to get those 2 things done. That'll take me at a minimum of 2 in-game weeks, probably closer to 4, because more than likely I'll have to work on one objective and the other objective won't get done in the meantime. We do have influence, which I've got a bunch of that I could probably spend on something. Yeah, so all our typesetting is all that stuff. But yeah, so I can unlock stuff. I can make my paper 1 more page long, but that's fine. How are we doing on space? Yeah, that's the reason why we're staying paused right now, is those spies, once again you're building, they ruin everything. So it's 30,000 for me to add another floor to my building. And I got one little spot that's available there, otherwise every single spot is pretty much filled. Oh, you know what I can do to help with this? Oh, I forgot you got moved up there because we're struggling on space so much right now. Oh, what do we have unlocked here? Oh, right, we got the bonsai tree. I forgot we got the bonsai tree. The bonsai tree just makes people a little bit happier. Sure. Put the bonsai tree right here by the entrance. Have a lovely time. Okay. Let's see, could you assign the security to the first floor only, even though a station is up there? That is... No, I can't. They don't have an assignment. That's a good idea, though. It's a shame that isn't a thing. So I have 33 influence I should use on something. Oh, you know what we could do? So what I'm doing is I'm getting discounts for traveling to Europe. So that instead of spending $300 per news report I go over there, I'm spending $150. I think that's a good spend. The police station. I don't know if these are going to do anything for me, but I'm going to make my security guard faster. So I just unlocked a bunch of different things that if I build nearby my security booth, it makes my security guard move faster, stuff like that. So right above your head, you're going to get an alarm. And you're going to get an alarm light. And you're going to get a megaphone. So all of those will boost our security guard. So we check on our security guard skills now. We got +3 from all those things we put around him. So yeah, so we got our security guard about as good as they're going to get. Unfortunately, the security guard will only like put exclamation marks above their head if they see a spy. They don't actually stop them, which is something that annoys me quite a bit, actually. So I'll get you put on the ad, and then you'll be able to take the illustration there. Okay. So let's check. So we want, for this week, Crime and Society, because that's where the Adventure Badge comes from. Entertainment and Society, because that's where the Inspiration one comes. And then we have Sports and Entertainment for that. This comes from Sports and Politics, and Sports and Politics. So we want everything but economy articles. I'm not gonna even bother having the filters on, because I vaguely remember for the rival that he reports on economy as one of his main things, and I believe we need that. So what we're watching for is anyone who walks behind the boxes from this side and goes to my front door who is not one of my people. That'll be the tell that we got someone showing up. Okay, we can get this off my screen. Okay, so with this one, we just have a pretty standard article. I'm going to have Regina jump on that for the first phase, because they'll give us 2 quality on that, because she has a trait that she gives quality for based on all this stuff. The second one we'll want Jim to take, because Jim can take the adventure tag here with his trait and potentially give me a really good gold tag. And then the last part will be done by Joe, because Joe can avoid arrest. Oh no! Joe only prevents police fines, not arrest. Interesting. Okay. Witness slain on steps. Noon shooting at courthouse. Okay. So we can have you pop in here. Annie here is one of my brand new reporters, so I'm going to make sure to have the editors overlook her stuff. She's brand new. She's going to make messes. Hopman trial begins. Kidnapping charges faced. Hey, Ants, how's it going? It's good to have you. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. That's 12 months, a full year you've been subbed to the channel, and I really do appreciate that continued support. It means a lot, so thank you so much for that. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Okay, so we can go ahead and for this one we'll have, let's see, we'll have Jerry jump on the political angle, because that'll give me 1 star. And then we will have Wendy here, I think we'll jump on the crime angle, because that'll give us 2nd star. And then we'll get Wendy, because she's new, we're going to have hers edited. That'll give us our 3rd star. Money seized by prosecutors. Senator and banker worry about money. Oh, we've got European news. New film inspires with darker themes. Okay, so this is one that my rival is trying to scoop. So if she beats me to the story, I can't have it. So we're going to go ahead and pay her plane ticket to get someone over there. And then right away, we're going to have Mike here, because Mike has a random chance of 25% chance of getting to the next piece. Didn't get it. So Mike's going to take that first one, and then we're going to get someone else on the next one. Acclaimed director explores societal struggles in post-war Europe. Okay. Now, big thing is, again, we got to be very careful about spies. To take over the Observer, I cannot do a single compromised story. Because the idea is he'll point out that the story's compromised and hurt our reputation. Okay. So we'll have John Young jump on this. He's my best sports reporter. So Yankee Gehrig sidelined. Iron Horse faces setbacks. Now, we're already going to have spies. Like, that's just going to be the flavor of the week. So I'm just not going to care about getting more spies on me. So go ahead and trigger that spies might show up. Okay, we're going to get another spy showing up. That's fine. Well, how are we doing on coal, by the way? I've got like 6-7 boxes. We're good on coal, we're good on food. Not so good on actually getting our people to get through here. If you see me randomly clicking on people, it's me trying to figure out if they're a spy. Okay, we got our illustrator to work on the illustration for that. That's just making an ad better. Meanwhile, our advertiser can go and do that. And we got ourselves a new story in Europe. Flooding causes damage across communities. So this will give us a silver, a bronze, 2 bronze, so 4 bronze, 2 silver. Only if I have a polyglot. Otherwise, it's going to give me 3 bronze and a silver. Honestly, I'm going to pass on that one. Ooh, no, you know what? For our person who gives us... You do society. Yeah, we'll take it. And the reason I'm taking it is there's a 50% chance. If I have Jim here, take the second part, that adventure tag could give me a gold tag. There's no guarantees, but it's worth doing it. So Frank will jump on this story. Russia protect local infrastructure. We'll have that edited to try and boost the quality a little bit more. And how's this story coming along? You got a while yet? I'll have to check when we get into the next week if we click on the Empire Observer again, if we get like an update being like, hey, here's what you need to do. That maybe I had to do that or the Mafia thing. So this one, we don't really have anything we really specifically care about. Stella here will give me a pretty terrible report on it, but we'll add, oh, you don't add it to that. That's right, it's politics you have to. It's fine. So Stella's going to do that because everyone else is busy that I don't want to have on our stuff. High-profile witnesses, opposition making their case. Alright. But as you can see, when we're in the late game, there's a lot of stories going on at all times. Alright, so Duncan can take on that picture. So lawmakers speak to banker about money. So one thing we also want to check is once we get the next stage of this story sorted, I'll need to prioritize that mail for taking the territory. Because I still do want to take over as much territory as possible. Just because. Okay. Got an update in this story to deal with. Alright, so this is the one I want Jim. It's got the adventure tag, and Jim can maybe give us a gold tag. We did get the gold tag. Alright, so I don't remember what arrest actually does to our people, but we're probably going to find out. Prosecutor's move case. It's already at maximum quality, so I don't got to worry about that stuff. Okay, so now I can go for this one. I'm going to have Ella jump on that, because she'll boost it one more quality. And that gives us a really good one. So, Yankee Gehrig sidelined. Critics weigh on team's future. Cool. We've got new news. Okay, so this piece we want to edit because it's biased. So we can have our editor remove that tag. So this is going to be, I mean, it's 3 bronze. It's not that good of a story. I'm gonna have one of our it's fine. Here, have Jason jump on that. Jason always spins everything to be sensational. So I have that. So we want to edit that. Introduction of jockeys. Industry experts predict new era of comfort. Let's go check, because I didn't check. Certain weeks you want to be one way or the other. Okay, so I just want to be solidly one way or the other, either informant or we want to be extremely sensational. Sensational will pay me more. So we want to fully sensationalize our newspaper this week. Is that something I have for an thing here? No. Okay, so with this, I've got this last story here. We could just chuck you on that. And we'll have that edited to get to another star. Critics praise a haunting performance in unforgettable ending scene. So, got a new movie coming out. We got the scoop on it. So what I want to do now is this story is a scoop. So I want to prioritize that story so that as far as like our editors and everyone else involved with it, that they put it as a higher priority than other stuff. That way we can hopefully get these sorted as quickly as possible. Whatever European stories is ready for the next step. Okay, and this one we gotta wait for Jim to be available. Jim's not gonna be available for a little while longer. We're just gonna let that sit. Because that story only is worth it to me if Jim randomly rolls that 50% chance of giving it another gold tag. Because those tags are basically how much I'm going to get paid, you know, for the story. Bronze tag, it's basically gold tag is worth twice as much as a silver tag is worth twice as much as a bronze tag. So getting extra tags is like a big thing to pursue. Okay, so someone's going to face arrest. Hey, Wendy? You're new here, and you're also very expendable. So I don't know what that's gonna do. So this is your moment, Wendy. You wanted the chance to. Wendy, 8 days in jail. That is most unfortunate. Hey Annie, you want to take the story? There you go. So Wendy just got arrested, and apparently that just means she's gonna be unavailable for 8 days. Oh, or we could process the legal paperwork. Okay, so the lawyer can get her out. It just takes time. Okay, so witnesses slain on steps. Troopers ring downtown. Cool, so we get that story done. There's our papers from the arrest showing up. Was Jim in that set? You available, Jim? No, Jim is showing up at the office now. That's probably Jim right there. Okay, so these are the police reports. So we gotta take these. And you can have your people bring them up. They're really crap at doing it reliably. One thing that did go is they did have a update since yesterday, and the update did smooth out a lot of things. Like, they reduced the amount of paper you need to run your newspaper each month, or week, or whatever. They did change the prioritization. Remind me to not work when you go into publishing. That's fair. I can't argue against that. Alright, so we're gonna let Jim get up here. The moment Jim puts that newspaper right there on the desk, we should be good to go. And with that... Okay, I guess Jim's not up there yet? Oh, Jim was going straight over here. Alright, so Jim is going to jump on this one. And we got the gold tag, so we won the 50-50 roll. We'll have that edited to get the 3 stars. Flooding causes damage across communities. Volunteers step up to aid displaced families. Now, I don't have a polyglot, so I can't get the last 2. And that's a tag that's specifically for international news. Alright, got another important story. And unfortunately, Jim's not available on this one. Nor can I really afford to wait for Jim to be available. So that is what it is. So Frank is going to take this one, because Frank will make this into a sensational article as opposed to informational. Amelia Earhart soars again. After 19 hours, I was glad to see land, says Mrs. Earhart. Yep, and then we'll have Regina take the other one to max out its quality. And that'll be another story to prioritize, because that's one of those stories that is a scoop to take from my competitor. And that's what that glowing means, where it's like kind of sparkling here. Might be hard to see that on stream. Alright, we got someone who's going to potentially get me a lawsuit. Joe, you're the only one available, so take that. That's fine. The lawyers got to earn their keep this week. Prosecutors present key evidence. Cool. So with that, we still have the spy on their way over. None of my stories have yet to be tampered with. So the spy has not made their move on my building. There'll be the lawsuits arriving. Oh, right. This story's just going to straight up give me cash. Okay. I'm down. Do you have to unlock the security guy at the entrance? Yes. The security guy at the entrance is an unlock. Cooper's Inc. sells the world's first men's briefs. Yeah, so when you look over here, like, you start here, the police department's right there, so it's just that node, and then this node, that gets you the police department, and the police department is what gets you the securities booth. Otherwise, you can also go, like, the whole way around this way or whatever, or up and around that way. But the point is, it's only 2 nodes away, so it's, like, all the stuff right here, you're probably going to unlock right at the beginning. Just by the nature of, you know, taking what you can get. Yeah, no, that's the thing. You can accidentally avoid it, but that's part of the idea of the game. Because what I was doing is I was just spreading to whatever node I wanted to for most of it. I do think the idea is when you play that you go, okay, where do I want to go first? I want to work for the mayor. All right, let me open this node and then that node to get the mayor. Okay, well, now that I got that, what do I want? Oh, maybe I want to get to where I can expand my printing press. Okay, let me go around here to get to the industrial harbor. Oh, I need security because I'm running into trouble. Let me get the police department. I feel like that's going to be a big part of your strategy on, like, what kind of run you're doing is where you prioritize moving stuff around. I think that's actually one of the bigger things that's going to differentiate your runs is where you are taking your time to work on stuff. Okay, we got another European story. So this is in Stockholm. Illiteracy sweeps rural towns. So we want to get that story up there, and that's the last scoop we need to take the thing. What's worse is when you did it and you didn't have enough money for a second page and had to take out loans. Yeah, it does feel like getting more pages is one of the better plays, as it were. You're going to make it slower, but you're the only one who's going to be any good at this. Alright. Authorities introduce new school programs to remote areas. Okay. And most of the time we've had spies, we've seen them around Thursday and Friday. I don't think it's like a hard rule that that happens. It's just usually it takes us a couple of days to do something to get spies triggered on us. Right, so if she takes the politics side, then she will add an influence on here, which is good. And I do not have anyone who does criminal stories available right now. Yeah, this elevator being a bottleneck is the whole thing. Move your lawsuits? Yes, you are correct. Now, granted, he's currently working through getting my person out of jail. But that's okay. Sometimes a lawyer just needs to be overworked a little. I also notice he's not as desk, so he's over finding a bathroom. That's what things I want to do is expand the floors so every floor has a source of food and restroom. And if I were to treat this as a forever run, I do think I would slowly work through my people to things. Is that a meter or a dumbwaiter in the far left? It's a dumbwaiter. Judge in love. Judge falls for criminal defendant. That is not good for anyone involved. Okay. So this would be 2 silver, 2 bronze, and a gold. That's probably worth 150 in someone's time. You imagine it's easier to get stories to the assembler? Yeah, well, the dumbwaiter is more for boxes of things. So that's like your paper, your coal, your food. Then you have the pneumatic tubes. And I believe the pneumatic tubes move the stories around through your building. Right, so I need you on this one. So that story starts getting done. The street kitchens, who finances them, says local sheriffs. Just checking everyone here. Alright, so those are all coming along nicely. You are waiting on stuff. Okay, so we could toss someone at this. Ella is my currently only available person here, so you can jump on the finance story. Troubling to find finance. Financial grievance strangles manufacturing. But yeah, so you can see they're taking the stories here from the typesetter, and they're putting them in the pneumatic, and then I'll have a person up here running back and forth taking them to the assemblers. Alright, so there's only 11 stories left for the week. There's also an achievement for doing all of this without ever pausing. Like, if the game does something like it shows you a screen that keeps the game from moving, that's fine. So, like, when the print comes up at the end of the week, but you're just not allowed to use these controls or the buttons that shortcut those controls. There's an achievement for that. I don't think I would ever go for that achievement because, you know, sometimes people need to pee. Bowling started. Recent season starts admirably. Because it also isn't like RimWorld where, you know, certain events pause the game and all that. I mean, there is events that pause the game. I shouldn't say that. So this is, well, okay, so we do actually have a thing for the mob where they'll give us extra for bronze. Normally, I'd look at a story with 2 bronze and be like, get this out of here. In this case, we have a special thing going on with the mob right now, where any story that's got that defeat tag gives me extra money if we run it. So, sure. Golf dominant streak ends. Showdown, feat done. Okay, we got another part to this story, which is a photo. The photo might not happen. Amelia Earhart soars again, clear skies and stars for much of the journey, says Earhart. Okay. So, what we can go ahead and do is I will prioritize that. I think we're too late in the week for a photo to get through the processing. Photos are extremely slow. But we don't necessarily need it. I can cut the photo if it's not ready in time. Let's check on our ad things, because, yep. You can jump on that last ad, just in case we do decide to run any ads this week. Gotta have them made. But yeah, there's a whole strategy that comes with your newspaper at the end of the week about being like, okay, what stories are you running? What stories are you not running? Where are you going to be putting them? Okay, so this one risks outrage. So Jerry here has a thing called Spin Doctor, which negates the risk of outrage or boycott, so we can just put Jerry on that, and then we don't get any outrage. Let's see, so how high is your tower now? 2 years from when you last saw. It's 9 floors, I believe. Judge in love, lovebird defendant cleared of all charges. That would certainly be a scandal. But yeah, so I believe we're at 9 floors now, according to us. I think this counts as floor 0 for purposes of the game's counting. But I do know we started to set our supply people to have dedicated floors. Okay, so we need someone on this one right away. So Frank's going to jump on this one immediately. Illiteracy sweeps the rural towns. Volunteers assist with teaching in difficult terrains. And you're my only other available person, Jim, so you jump on that one. And so that's all fine. So that'll give us this one here. So that is going to be our last priority story for the week. So make sure to prioritize that. Yeah, so we've got this one prioritized. I got... Where'd you go? I got that one prioritized. I got that one prioritized. So that's our 3 priority stories, and those are priority because we need to do these. Otherwise, we don't really care about the rest. Okay, I still haven't seen our spy. None of our stories have been tampered with yet. How are you liking News Tower? I've been playing it around 5 days, I believe. But we're planning on finishing up today because I got 2 main story beats that are going to be kind of like story finishing things coming up. And so it'll feel like a pretty good time to be like, let's, you know, let's wrap it up here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this food 1 and put it here. And this food 1 and put it here. Apparently that wasn't in the right place. And that water cooler is also really low. And then this is really low. And that tells me I need to order more food. Okay. We just need a defeat story. You can spin doctor that. Sad defeat. Yep. Because at the end of the week when I post papers, there's little papers that have like articles that have left and right arrows. Left means it's informational, right means it's sensational. And so what you end up doing there is it's kind of a thing you go out of your way to some weeks make it spin one way or the other. This week you want to spin it towards being sensational because we'll get better rewards. Bowling starting. Tactics works in match. And you're not getting progress because you're not at your desk. Okay. So, I want Jerry on this one. I don't want someone else to do that because we risk protests. And Jerry can prevent that. Are both of these risking protests? Really? Oh no, okay, I just mislooked at. Okay, cool. I actually pulled the same type. So Regina can take that one, boost it to 3 stars. Welfare strained and economic hardship. Mobsters financed charities step in the gap left by authorities. We're just waiting for Jerry to get back to their desk. I'm not sure if that's Jerry or one of them or it's Jerry. That was not Jerry. Because Jerry can prevent outrage. Okay, we have another story over here. That is a 1 bronze story. That is hot garbage. We're running down to our last few stories for the week. That's still a pretty rubbish story. Kennard is one of my new people. Doesn't have much experience, so we're going to go ahead and toss him on there just for training. Petition spurs hearing on lynching. Clergy lead delegation. Let's give the reporters a chance to put down their news. Okay, so that should free up Jerry. Or not. Let's see, you got you. Been lurking for a few days. At first, I was like, I don't think this is for you, but after watching, you picked it up. It hooked you in. Yeah, no, it's one of those things that, like, on the surface, you're like, okay, it's just gonna be like this kind of this weird tycoon, you know, sim tower kind of game. But you know, it's news. And then you realize, like, all the depth and all the things going on, you're like, excuse me? There's what in this game? Radios bridge snowdrifters while roads are still blocked. Okay, is Jerry available? Okay, Jerry's available, so that'll prevent the protests. Okay, protesters demand economic action over debt concerns. Here, I'll refill your toilet paper for you. And checking, still no articles tampered with. Okay. Yeah, so that elevator bottleneck is real bad. Again, our story that's got the next stage ready. And if we have you finish that, you'll probably jump that up to 2 stars. We're gonna have you knock that up to 3. Alright, so that gives us 2 silver, 2 bronze, and a gold on that. That'll be a really good story. We currently only have 2 stories over here, and there's no more sports stories for the week, which is fine. Got a new story over here. So crime story's not a particularly good one. We'll have Annie here jump on that. She's relatively new. Concealed Detroit headquarters crush. Witness, it's monstrous. Nothing tampered with yet. Okay. Another just pretty okay story, so Stella can jump on that. Hey, Molly! Thank you so much for the raid. I do apologize about everyone jumping in during that ad, which you won't hear me because the ad is already running, but that do be how it do sometimes. But thank you so much for the raid, Molly. Let me go ahead and I'll get you a shout-out. Because I do think a lot of my mods might be busy over with the hot potato today. So let me go ahead and get a shout-out for Molly Berry. Another fantastic content creator on the platform. Also playing News Tower. Excellent. I do hope you had a lot of fun with it. I have been very much enjoying this game. This is my 5th day on it. We're planning on kind of getting the wrap-up on parts of it. But for those who don't know, Molly Berry plays a lot of fantastic games over there. Definitely recommend. You know, Product Zombie, a whole bunch of good stuff. Very similar content to what we've got here, so if you enjoy the content there, you'll probably enjoy it here, and vice versa. So don't forget to drop a follow over with Molly Berry and all good stuff. Rowan popping in here, I am Rual Storge, player for hiding games here on Twitch. I'm most known from exploits in Project Zombie, where I used to hold a world record for the highest kill count run ever streamed. You'll notice the past tense on that. But I do play a wide range of games, from simulation to city builders, settlement builders, tycoons, rogue lights occasionally, slice of life. It's a pretty wide range. But today we're playing some News Tower. We're pretty far in. This is our 5th day. We are about to topple the first of our competitors. And to say we are in the mob's pocket is to understate it greatly. We're right about to finish maxing them out. But yeah, no, this is a really solid game. Really solid game. It is very much, you know, you start with just like 1 or 2 layers to the onion of just get the news article and get it in your paper. And you just keep finding more and more and more. And you can kind of choose to engage with as much or as little of it as you would like. With, like, the only exception being, you know, you do ultimately have to print news. You love watching Molly play it so far? It looks so immersive. Yeah, no, it's been really good. The only thing that's been kind of rough is I opened my international news, and reporting on international news in Europe in the 1930s, especially Germany, not a great feeling. No, there's some pretty bad stuff going on over there. It's a little hard news to be dealing on. We don't have anything like super graphic and awful, but you know, it's more beats here like, oh, I know how that ends. It's not a happy story. But yeah, no, I very much am enjoying it. I like that we're getting more games depicting this time frame of the 1930s, because for at least in the US, this is a wild time where, like, in a lot of ways, the mob was as much of a legitimate government as the actual government, so far as like what they were doing. You know, the mob was running soup kitchens on, and that's not to be like mob good or anything. They were doing it for very self-serving reasons. But it was a wild time that no one really knew which way anything was going, because it was like everything was kind of in flux. Like the political parties around this time like literally flipped to mean the opposite thing as each other. They like reverse course, like one becomes, you know, the Conservative Party becomes the Liberal Party and vice versa. You have, you know, like the New Deal is coming out, so we get our 40-hour work week, we get basic, you know, job protections, we get you know, go get unemployment insurance becomes a thing during this time, and you know, workman's comp gets expanded. We start to put rules against child labor. Like it is a time that culture. We have the Hays codes come into place in the movie industry. For those who don't know, it was a set of codes the movie industry put on the movie industry, so not laws but codes within the movie industry, that you had to obey all these moral rules or your movie wouldn't get published. Which one of those, that it's the only one I know off the top of my head, was that if you have a movie, the bad guy must lose by the end. Whether they get killed at the end or they get, you know, caught and arrested or whatever, but the bad guy must get their upcomings by the end of the movie was required to have a movie published in this time. Yeah, the news is really interesting to watch, and hearing nuggets of history. Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like I know a lot of this era because I do have a lot of interest in history, and usually it'll be from like different angles of things. But usually they don't walk you through like the trickle feed of it. You know, you get like the major beats, like, oh, here's what a company town was, here's when it operated, here's when, you know, unions started violently like fighting back against it. Here's where, you know, the company started literally murdering the unions, and then here's where the government finally said, all right, we need to stop having everyone shoot each other. Unions are now legally protected. Please stop killing everyone. And that's an oversimplification, by the way. There's a lot more nuance to that. But you get like that part of it where it's talking about that arc versus having the trickle feed of all the different things going on. There's a very, very fun historian that I like to listen to her books when they come out, Sarah Vowell. And she covers a bunch of different eras. Like it's based around U.S. history, but she does a good way of kind of doing that world building, being like, hey, here's the event we're talking about, but here's the way the culture was around this time, and here's, you know, what it was like to just be like this, you know, average person going to work every day. Like this is kind of your experience, and thing. 1933, a bunch of Richies tried to overthrow the New Deal government and impose a dictator. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's for as much as we go, oh, you know, look at what happened in Germany in the 30s. There was a lot of people in the late 1920s and 1930s in the US who thought fascism was a great idea and we should do it. Like, you know, Nazi Germany copied our homework and then did what they did. Which we didn't do all that stuff. They're the ones who took it to the extreme, but that was not an original idea so far as like the whole approach of like almost making your party into a religion and everything. And to be fair, we weren't the originators of that here in the US either. We were kind of the modern version of it. And it's a whole thing. Like there's a lot to unpack in that era. It was, you know, communication was getting faster. people were able to, you know, go from place to place. Because it used to be before that, before we had planes and all that, if you wanted to go across the ocean, that was a multi-month commitment. And then if you wanted to send a letter to, you know, to your family back in Paris from New York, that letter took months to get there. If it got there at all, which was sometimes very tenuous. And so the world was getting smaller with like the Marconi, the Marconi radio, having, you know, the ability to get these boats that could get across the ocean in under a month or whatever, getting planes that could go across the ocean in a matter of, you know, 12 hours or so. Like, it's fun if you ever get the chance to look at some of the headlines that came out of around like 1899, 1898, that kind of things, and what they predicted. There's a really cool I don't remember who, maybe it was Saravel. There was a really cool book about Nikola Tesla I was reading that was talking about the things around there, and it actually had headlines from one of the newspapers at the turn of the century, from the 1800s to the 1900s, that they predicted that, you know, scientists predicted that in the next 100 years, we would be able to get from New York City to Paris. New York City to Paris in under 2 weeks. They also predicted we would be able to make the entire planet temperate climate, or wherever climate we wanted it to be. We would have complete control of changing our local environment. One of those came true. We can certainly beat 2 weeks to get from New York to Paris in the next 100 years. That did happen by a lot. Haven't quite made the climate control thing happen though. But yeah, it's very interesting, like looking back at those times and being these things we got going on there. Let's see, that one, that's what starts getting trains to run on time thing saying, yeah. And the other half of the other is going, well, definitely not altering climate. Yeah, no, we are certainly altering climate. That's one bronze, get out of here. We are certainly altering the climate. The controlled part, that's where we're kind of missing it. There's our spy. This dude right here, that dude right down there, that guy, that's our spy. You're our spy, strolling in here, thinking you're all over, gonna cut behind my boxes, thinking you're being all sly, sneaking on in. So we're gonna go ahead and kick our spy out of here before he screws with all my papers. Okay, and evicted. The spy's out of the building. Okay. So I'm guessing our mission with the observer didn't happen. We are gonna go ahead and have Jason jump on this so he can spin this to being sensational, because that's what we want this week. Exactly. This game is set at the time. Yeah, right now we're in 1935. The game starts in 1930. Petition spurs hearing on lynching, organizers lay out first steps. So we want to edit that to get a little bit more quality. Historic education reform enacted. That's another, honestly, kind of garbo story so far as what we're getting out of it. Curriculum enhancements drive academic excellence. Okay, and how are we doing over here? Yeah, so our story in Vienna is going fine. But yeah, so to get to where we're at in the game, I have completely taken over all of the territory of the Empire Observer, and I've got one more thing to do with them to eliminate them. We are working with the mob, and we are just a hair under maxing them out. We have also sided slightly with high society. I haven't put the time in there. Let's see. How many hours playtime are you in? So this would be my 5th stream, and we put about roughly 9 hours in per stream, give or take a little bit. So we have 4, probably about 36 would be my guess. And thank you for the host over on YouTube, Molly. I appreciate that as well. I always have to think about what the name of that is. That's what I need to deal with. So we got one of our people is arrested right now. We have a lawsuit pending. The mob just wants me to report on both victory and defeat, and then we get bonuses for each of those stories we do. The mayor despises our very existence. Have you gone to Europe at all? Or is that not available yet? Yeah, no, I've gone to Europe. This is actually a European story right now coming out of Vienna. Europe news is a little hard to see at times because 1930s. there's a whole thing going on over there. It's pretty bad. You see articles about a failed artist, which we will not elaborate on farther. And you're just like, it's a very high value story, and I'm gonna run it. I don't like it. None of it is doing propaganda for it. At least none that I've seen. But it's definitely the kind of stuff you're like, ooh, I hate that story. I hate that name being on my screen. Let's see here. Okay. So for this one, I'll have Ella start. Even though Ella has second fiddle, so she boosts the quality of stories if she's on the second one. I don't really have a better one to deal with that. We'll go ahead and do that. The Office of the Future. New offices will feature high ceilings and plenty of daylight. Yeah, no, I have very much been enjoying it. Like, my only thing that I'm thinking about, like, wrapping this game up this stream, it has nothing to do with, like, being like, oh, I'm done with the game or anything. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, that there's so much more I can do with this. It's more, this is 5 streams, and it can be pretty tough to stay in the same category for a very long time. Especially tycoon games are not exactly particularly well known as having a long shelf life. You can jump on that. So far as streaming goes and content creation, to be clear. But there's a very different thing between good game and good for content, and, you know, you can have it go either way. There are some games that are amazing that are just really slow from content creation, like almost every 4X strategy game. A comedy team splits, partners turn rivals. Okay. And we got something out of San Francisco. We got the educational reform one. I guess Jerry can jump on that. Accessible schooling is empowering future generations, and we'll have that get edited. I mean, it depends on Tycoon game. If there's endless modes, they're usually pretty good. It's not the endless mode Guardian, it's more the pacing. Most Tycoon games, you run into pacing issues for content creation where there's just a lot of really slow times, or the game gets repetitive visually, that they can be very tricky to stream. Most of them, it's like the early games are usually pretty good, that there's enough happening. But it is one of those things that as you get a little bit later in the game, you know, there's a certain amount of you're going through the paces, that kind of thing, that usually is very difficult to stream. Not that it can't be done, it's just as a content creator you have to really work hard to carry it. Designer promises workers will be 10 times more productive in the new offices. Don't worry, chat. The workers will see the benefits of those changes. I'm sure of it. Alright. Streetcar jump switch. Car skids off icy rails. Is there a remaster of Sim Tower? I don't believe they ever remastered Sim Tower. Admittedly, I've not looked into it much. So let's check really fast. Do I have at least one victory story and one defeat story? I should have already checked that. So here's a victory story. So I got at least 2 victory stories ready to rock and roll, and I need at least 1 defeat story. I got at least 1 defeat story. That's all I needed. So we're good there. And that's to make the mob happy. How many pages is your paper now? It's 5. I believe the maximum is 6. Okay, we're on our last day. Okay, and then we got you. You can have Mike jump on that. Comedy team splits, new partnerships already talked about. We only got 3 stories that are in the works, and then that's everything. Yeah, I would add the 6th page, but you can make these go up and downstairs, and I'm at the point that genuinely I'm going to need to have a 2nd floor for our printing press to realistically make this happen. Which I think ultimately the way I would arrange it is I'd have like the output here, the input here, and have it wrap around that way. And it would have like a wall here with all the stuff to keep the noise down, and that would give me like probably enough space to have my telegraphs here, and then my European telegraphs with the extra regular telegraphs up there. I could see doing that, or I could even see like it would be storage rooms there, that kind of thing. Okay, so we're still just not getting our supplies done. Let's see here. So utility. Oh, right, for the supply desk, the issue is I needed all the boosts to make it worthwhile. That's right. It's fine. I'll deal with that later. Get to manually feed the machine again. Lawsuit costs us 1,050 bucks. I didn't realize you had fallen behind in that. Okay. Well, that's bad. I mean, it's not that bad. I got a ton of money, but it's a waste. Okay, so let's start worrying about our printing. So the important things are, we got our 2 objectives we have to make happen. Ideally, we want to be extremely sensational. So this week, I do have the Amelia Earhart story. Let's actually see, do we have any good stories for... I have a lot of stories on here that are going to give me influence, if I position them correctly. Okay. Do we have picture stories? Not that have anything there. Alright, so what I'm thinking is we try and go for the influence. So Amelia Earhart's story might get bumped down to here, because hers is just a straight up pay story. That's tragedy and heartbreak. This is a pretty good European story. And it ties in with society. Look at, we got a better tie-in though. I don't think we do. So this one, because it's a triple, that'll give me 12 influence for that front page. So we got that. We want another story that leans that way. So this is another European story that's society. So that's a pretty decent front page. We only have 1 gold tag on there with the photo of Amelia Earhart's plane. But we do have combos on all of these, and they all have some pretty respectable stuff here. Now I want you to be here, because that'll be more. And I want you to be over here, because that'll be more. Alright, so let's see what we got here. So that's another society story. So your entertainment for our stories we need to run. Okay, so the only one we're missing is the entertainment article. We'll put that probably back here. And that'd be everything I need to take the district. We've got a really good political story here. With no tie-ins with anything. I think I'm going to have to be slightly less greedy on trying to get... Oh, that one's an informative story, so I also don't want that to be a main leader this week anyways. So we can drop you in. You got a lot of tie-ins there. And then we can make this one a page about government stories. You should tie in here relatively well. Not as well as I hoped. Okay, so for the back page, or 5, I've got this one that's got both a victory and a defeat, making the mob happy. The illustrations take more or less time than photos? Less. Because I don't have to actually go anywhere. So it seemed like the illustrators go relatively quickly. I got a lot of gold tags, but not that many of them are available. Yeah, so I got another one of the revealing stories there. Oh, here. You can put this one here, because it has... Oh, that's not the right one. So this gold tag has the tie in with society. Okay. And this is a government story. Let's check. Do we have any other breakthrough stories? We do not. I do have a photo. That's a gold tag. Let's grab that. Any more stories that are ready out of Europe? I do. That's an entertainment. I think we had a page that was entertainment. Yep. So I can grab you. You're an entertainment story. That's out of Europe as well. Do we have fame stories? I do not. Do we have insider stories? I do not. We have one more European story that's ready, but it's a pretty nothing burger story. Do we have a review story that's ready? None that are any good. Entertainment stories that are any good? Not especially. What about ads? So I've got a really good politics ad and pretty good ads on finance and unrest in society. I've got a lot of good ads, just not for entertainment. So I can grab this article, and what we could do here is move you over to my entertainment page, because you have the European tie-in. So I'll still work there. And then we can go to our front page. We got this ad here. That boosts us a bunch. Now, if I was just worried about money, if I put this up here, it would be a much bigger boost. But yeah. No Asian news? No, it's just out of Europe and on that. Okay, and then this is the politics page. So we can drop a politics thing here. So it'll be a politics news, that'll be pretty solid. And then we've got sports. I do have one kind of crappy sports ad, but we'll see if we can't do better. So forecast, I do not have any. Reviews. I got some pretty lousy reviews. Triumph. We've got a political triumph ad. Defeat. Okay. That's a pretty good defeat story. It's got a lie in it, but you know. No one needs to know about that. Now, the big question is, will this give me a difference of more than $1,000? So we have 18,500. So it only drops at about $100, but that does give me another flag here that the Mafia will pay me another 1,000. So it's feeling like a relatively good newspaper so far. So you don't have the defeat or anything, so that's probably gonna be way less. Yeah, so it's gonna be just plain old less if I go that direction. So put the ad back in there. And honestly, for this one, for that key spot, yeah, I'll get an extra 100 or so bucks. I lose one influence, but we'll go ahead and have the political ad right there. We don't have an entertainment ad. I could probably put you up here. And it makes no difference in our price, but gives us more influence. This is the main spot here. I'd only get one more, so I don't think it's worth swapping those around. That's a pretty good front page. Yeah, no, I think we're good, because we got everything we need for the district. The mob will be happy. We'll get extra cash and influence from the mob, and we're getting 34 influence and a bunch of money, but I don't have my paper loaded. So let me manually load all the paper. Because I'm not sure what fell apart, but I have noticed we're not really seeing that. Oh, you know what I probably need to do? I should get one supply person to be assigned to floors 0 and 1. That way I have a person who can run downstairs, grab the junk down here, and bring it to the dumbwaiter, And then, you know, someone else can retrieve the dumb waiters from wherever. Because manually feeding this thing, not my favorite. That's been kind of the big struggle here, is getting my supply people to work efficiently. I'm trying to assign them floors, and it's taken a little bit of work to find a good balance. Okay. And this is something that they just had an update in the last, like, 24 hours that is supposed to improve the AI around loading the paper and everything into your printer, as well as they've reduced the requirement of paper a bit. I haven't noticed that yet, but we were already in the week when we loaded this one. I lost track of how many pages I actually need. Because I think we were up to about 1,500 pieces of paper per week. And I'm really glad I got, like, the automatic delivery thing, just because it's so hard to know how much paper I need between all my desks. They also reduced the amount of trash that editors produce, because I had noticed that the editor's floor was just a mountain of trash at all times. Even with, like, multiple cleaning people dedicated to it. Okay, so let's see. Is that good? Nope. I need 1,800 paper. Okay. It's fine. And one more. And now we can print. Okay, everything still looks good. All stuff still showing. Start. And we got our news going out for the week. So there'll be a new district taken. New point in the mob out of the 2 I still need. Oh yeah, train collide. That's the leading article we ran with. A failed artist train collide. Okay, so there's 16,000 in, and almost 10,000 out. Well, about 10,000 out. Okay. Alright. One more point, we max out the mob. And then we can properly open up a union with our employees, run by a mob plant. Alright, we got an extra $5,000. Next week we don't care where we lean. Anywhere's fine. And we ran enough political and enough societal to unlock their best ads for the week. Hey, Allison, can we get a shout out for Allison Adventures, by the way, if I got any of my mods here? So we got 32,000. Guess so we got leveled. Oh! Oh! 1 second. You ever heard the latest scuttlebutt? Big noise on the block. You know, the owner of the Empire's Observer kicked the bucket, right? Guess who name sings around the city? That's right, your uncle's. The one who ran when things were tough around here. Where did he get the money for that anyways? He wasn't on his way to Hawaii evading a debt with the Regio folks? Word is, he's already firing editors, cutting deals behind alley doors. If you thought the Observer has slippery before, so what's that mean for mostly ethical media, huh? You're gonna need to stand tall and let your family's shadows swallow the whole press? Huh? Wait, my uncle took it over? I guess we completed the condition that mentioned. But anyways, check out Allison Adventures first of all. But if you didn't catch what just happened, Allison Adventures has redeemed the Declare Your Victory on Twitch for 1.554 million Storge stonks. Absolutely ludicrously thing. Where's my thing where I document everyone who has gotten that? That's not the one. My desk is a mess right now because of all the RimWorld Hot Potato stuff going on and tracking things. Ba-ba-ba-bum. Where is that note? There it is. There's the one. Okay, because I'll get all that stuff after stream. Which is, we'll have Allison Victory. Adding to the very short list of people who have actually achieved that. To be clear, that redeem, if you look into the redeems on the channel, there is a redeem for increasing or decreasing the cost of winning Twitch. And those have been here since pretty early on in the channel. And it started at about 100,000 points to win Twitch. That collectively people have continued to increase the price more and more and more. And despite all that, we've had, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people win Twitch now, I believe. Let me actually remember real fast before we go any farther. Where are you? Over here? Because I will go and change your role on the Discord to have you as winning Twitch. But yeah, so you have like a role on the Discord for winning Twitch and all that kind of stuff. Which the one downside is a lot of my moderators are ones who won Twitch from being here so much. But moderators are a higher role on Discord than winning Twitch, so they can't show it off because it's just not how it works. But there's all that. So apparently we just had our uncle, who was running the newspaper into the ground that we took over the Empire Observer that I ran out of business. So let's quickly see what's going on with that. I built that paper you're riding on, my sweat, my headlines, maybe a few bad bets on racehorses, but that's besides the point. You're still in diapers when I was exposing the mayor's mistress. I brought you into this business. Now you come storming into my tower to take my turf again? Not today, kid. The Empire's Observer's obituary won't be written on my watch. I ain't running to Hawaii this time. If I go down, I'm taking your front page with me. So, okay. I was wondering what they were talking about. You want to kill the Observer? Fine. Try. But it's gonna hurt. We don't print fluff. We deal with crime, politics, and economy. The real ink. So, this is the interesting thing. Oh, come on. I'll flood your office with spies and compromise every story before it hits print. Let's see how long your readers stick around once they see what a fraud you really are. So, we saw this dialogue yesterday, right at the end of stream. But it wasn't, this is, I'm assuming, our uncle. But it was the guy who ran this. And this was the objective we were assigned to unlock the tower. So, they did have a patch that your uncle takes over the Observer at some point. And that's what I'm assuming is here. Is that this is where the uncle is taking over. That it was supposed to be our uncle who basically threatens us like this. Because it was weird, like, I even made the comment yesterday when the other guy's like, you know, I made your company, and they're like, no you didn't. Who the hell are you? This makes more sense because the uncle did run the company before us. So basically, we need to make a combo on crime, a combo on politics, and a combo on finance without a single compromised article or a compromised thing this week. And I'm assuming I could do this or the Mafia thing. So we need to do this to unlock 25 influence and the high rise. I'm going to accept that. So we've got our objective locked in. You put a giant mousetrap on the front door? Yeah, just padlock the front. Let's see here. So we could go ahead and move into another district. So we want, for your thing, it was crime, economy, and politics. So let's look at our districts. That's not going to be a good one. I'm looking for a district here that's got some good fits. It doesn't need to be perfect. A little bit of representation of each. Because we can make that happen. Crime and politics. Economy. Politics and economy. Crime and economy. This is going to be our target. Why are you... I love how the tutorial pops up at some of the weirdest levels. Where do you see what influence your influence level is at? If you click on the group, it'll show you what your influence is with that individual group. And then at the end of the week, when you get your end of the week report, it'll show them all. So right now, we're worried about knocking out the Observer. Right. So economy, crime and politics, crime and economy, politics and economy. So yeah, so this will be good. We'll just utterly ignore the sports angle on it and just focus on this stuff. Because it was crime, politics, and economy. And so, yeah, all of these are crime, politics and economy, with the exception of that one is technically sports as well. Oh, you think you meant, didn't mean influence? Is that what you mean when... Oh, you think you didn't mean influence. Prestige? Is that the way you say it? I'm not sure what mechanic you're talking. There is influence points, which is a currency. That's up here. There's influence, like, factions. There isn't, like, a prestige score or something like that to your newspaper, if that's what you're saying. Okay. We've already had this tutorial a number of times. It's weird that it's showing up again. I'm assuming that's just a thing with the updates. So we're selecting that district. So we're targeting that district, and we're doing the mission to take out them. I do have 44 influence that I gotta figure out where I'm using it. And I'm not honestly sure. Let's see. Oh, we can probably go to you. And we've automated our coal deliveries. Yeah, you can get prestige items, and they will make the area immediately around them a little nicer. We can get discounts on coal. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to get discounts on the paper. We do buy it every single week. I'm sure that adds up. So we just reduced our cost and all that. The paper cabinet I'm going to hold off on. I don't have a lot of space. Okay. The courthouse. Oh, yeah, so the next thing we'll go after is we'll go to the thing where we reduce the risk of lawsuit. Okay. So we have been warned that we're going to be dealing with constant spies. This is a long load time. Constant spies, and that we need to print a range of articles. There. So we got the coal set to auto. And food is probably fine. We've got a really valuable ad here. That's fine. Even though you're tired, you still jump on it. Okay. So, can I manage to... Yeah, so I've got a supply person here. I could snug you over just a smidge this way. And maybe fit another supply desk over there. Yep. Jokes around, making them... Okay, so this person makes people more comfortable by just walking around them. And you're going to deal with just the bottom floors. So the idea is I want that person to not deal with that, but everything else. So won't deal with, like, the production line stuff. They're just going to move junk into the building from down here, which means they'll put it on the dumbwaiter over there. And then I'm probably going to do is pop up here then and put a resupply desk here. I'm going to reroll that because that person was terrible. Counters heat. I don't really care about that. So the other one, we'll go ahead and just have you pop in here. And your only floors you consider is... I wish they gave, like, the numbers on the floor. So we have the top floor is 9. 8. 7 does not have a restroom. So they want them on floor 6. But there's no restroom here. So they'll pop down to floor 4. Those will be the only 2 floors they met. Well, actually... yeah, because there's no restroom here. Okay, so they can go up here. They can deal with the paper floor, and they can deal with supplies. We'll see how that does. And we can go to our stuff that makes our stuff here better. It's not the right thing. Here we are. So get you your running shoes. Get you your supply cabinet. We'll get you your order chart. Make you as good as you can be. You also need your running shoes. Oh, and you need your little file roller thing. Okay, so we got our supply people as good as they're gonna get. And then hopefully that fixes a bunch of that stuff up. It does mean I should have dedicated supply people that just run between here and here. And I have dedicated people who deal with just the upper floors. Okay, so we got our first story here. That's an economy story. Now, one of the keys that we have here is I don't even have to run good stories. I just have to run combos. New board game, Monopoly. Landlord game aims to illustrate the economic principles. Okay. A bunch of new news. Alright, so here's the scoop. So this is a crime story. I'm gonna have you go ahead and jump on the first segment. You have the edit. Firebug stalks barns, fires leap county lines. And then we've got an entertainment story. We're not super worried about this one. This week we really don't care which way things spin, so I'm just gonna chuck you on here. We don't really care. Power fails on talent show, radio show carries on sidewalk. We got an entertainment story that we need done right away. So you're gonna use this one. Yes, Mike has a 1 in 4 chance of skipping you to the next part. Museum maps founder's lineage. Old papers come to light. So she's trying to scoop that story. We got 2 stories out of Europe. Go ahead and get our ticket here. I shouldn't have gotten that ticket. That's a terrible story. I need to check first. Okay, so this is a good one. This has a scandal. And we can get the whole way through with a bribe. Because we're wasting effort there. So John can jump on this, boosting its quality all the way up to 3. Sport legend entangled in controversies, accusations of unsportsmanlike conduct in matches. Before I forget, we need economy, crime, and politics as our main things we're going after. We don't waste our time on the other stories. Just in case we run short on the time here. Okay, not that one. This story is the one that's got stuff going on. Either way is a win. I'm gonna have you jump on the politics side. Council halts farm sales. Mortem voted on. And nothing compromised in the building yet. Alright, so we gotta really watch for the spies this week. My assumption is where we had just a couple spies here and there, we're just gonna keep having the spies poke in again and again. Oh, I missed a. And then Parker Bros does the thing they did to that board game. Yeah. And then everyone ignores the rules and make it actually show economic principles. Well, that was like, if you actually follow the rules of Monopoly, it could be a genuinely enjoyable game. But no one does, because watching the money slowly scrape away until there's none left doesn't feel good. So it's just one of those things that just doesn't happen. You know, people do the thing where you land on free parking and just the money comes back out of the bank and all that. None of that's by the rules. It just, you know, it feels bad for the money to slowly vanish. All right, that's a spy. And you can tell because they're slightly higher up than the others. I think I've only seen them come from the left side now I think about it. I could be wrong. Come on. Okay, that's the first spy out of here. And this time they hit us with the spy on Monday. That's the earliest we've ever seen a spy hit us. That's the second story, so you boost its quality. Apparently not, doesn't count that way. Outages caused by coal supply struggles. Alright. We'll have Wendy jump on that, because you'll still bump it up 1 star. As it get edited. Okay, so meanwhile, let's go in here. We got a couple of these earlier stories that are important. So you, that's a priority story. Okay, and we have the museum maps. Well, that's interesting. Okay, I mean, it's got the thing for the illustrator there, but that's alright. So Jerry's gonna jump on that. And, curators verify the trail. Okay, so with this one, we would get a good thing. We're gonna face a lawsuit partly through. Leaders address policy failure. So Stella can jump on that. She automatically gives them some influence. I actually really like that power broker tag. I think that one's amazing to just get influence onto stuff. It does make me curious if you do like a forever run, eventually you would finish your policy, like your influence research. You would run out of things to spend it on. Which, you know, that's fair of any game. You eventually exhaust the research tree if it goes on forever. Just hearing all sorts of jingle and chimes and all that mean things. Okay, so you're working on that one. Okay, and you're already busy, so you jump on the $500 one. Okay, so we've already had 1 spy. Okay. So this is the side we care about the most. So Annie here could jump on that angle. And then Jim can jump on this angle. We'll want to edit that to improve the quality. Chicago Post's crime tally. 4th violent store robbery in a week. Okay, so I think with that we can go down here and get all our priority stories set. So this is a priority story. We're taking the district. We already got you. I thought the last one... Did we already get flagged? I guess not. And our story that was... Oh, one of these... Oh, it's the ad. That's right. And my illustrator's busy. There's our spy. Okay, and for this one, I'll have you jump on in case you skip it ahead. You did not. Let's see. Darrell sells games to Parker Brothers after initial rejection. Let's deal with the spy first, because the spy can basically fail this whole thing for me if I let him loose and he tears up my stuff. Okay. And then this one, I don't really care who takes it. It's all fine. Sports legend entanglement controversy. Gossip emerges about secret disputes settled with big amounts of money. Excellent. And then you can get on that one for my illustrator here. There's so many things just tinging that need to be done. What tinged? Oh, you're tinged that you finished this, maybe? No? Because the ting usually means there's a story that's moved on to the next step. Okay, so that one's not moved on to the next step. Oh yeah, no, don't need to be sorry at all. Like, having personal interests, never apologize for that. Like, you know, unless the personal interest in itself is, like, amoral or whatever. But then that's more the behavior that's the problem. Oh, we got another spy sneaking in here. Okay. So I need an illustrator there. Well, right. No, I was talking like, you know, board games, having an interest in board games, there's like nothing wrong with it. But, you know, if your interest is like, you know, dog racing or whatever, it's like, okay, hang on. Or like cockfighting or whatever, be like, all right, hang on, wait a second. The problem... Oh, this one requires cartography. Well, look, man. I already know... So it looks like a bunch of the tutorial stuff got reset when they did their update. Because, like, hey, you know you can get your cartography way down there. It's like, yeah, maybe. I'm working on stuff. So with that, we've got that one that's underway. So let's check again at which one is the cartography story. So the cartography story, I can get it to 4 bronze, and it will count as both crime and politics, which I do need for the week. So I'm going to run it anyways. But yeah, missing out on the silver, bronze, and I could maybe make that into a gold. Well, no, I wouldn't be able to make that into gold. But missing out on the silver, bronze is pretty rough. There's so many stories coming in. Hey, you know what, Wendy? You're really bad at this, but you are available, so you are the best I've got on hand. Opponent Taylor's campaign rocked before election. And she's only bad out of inexperience. She's not bad. You know, she just needs a little bit more time to learn her trade. Alright. And now a big painful bribe. A real painful bribe. Just, that was not worth. John, make it the best it can be. Numbers reveals structural cheating. I mean, it's a good story. It's gold, 2 silver, 3 bronze, and it's, a risk story. Yeah, this is the one I'm gonna need someone else available for. Alright. So once these ones go in, we'll get them. No stories appear to be compromised yet. Everything is just tinging constantly. Okay, so risking an injury. Hey, Kennard. I know you're the intern and you're new here and all that. Have you wanted your big break? Do you want the Monopoly story? Don't worry about it. 11 days in the hospital. That's unfortunate. Hey, Frank, jump in on this. Game's popularity surges in trying times. Our illustrator is not ready. I have 3 things depending on the illustrator. That is real unfortunate. How's your luck been with those things? Oh, the dice rolls? I mean, it's probably an even distribution between good and bad, all things considered. Okay, so that ad's being brought down. Does that mean the illustrator's free? No. That said, there is like 2/3 chance of bad, 1/3 chance of good. We tried clicking during the arrow swing. It doesn't do anything. It just speeds up the animation. If there's something there, it's not communicated in any type of effective way. It might give you the feeling you're doing something, but you know. So this week I think we're gonna miss out on taking the district because all these things are being locked behind the illustrator. Chicago Post crime tally. Crime totals rise. Auto thefts up 17%. Cool. Nah, it would be... So, like, if you had that game mechanic where you could kind of ensure good results, it would mean, like blowing on your dice, yeah. It would mean you could trivialize that. And then you could just, like, not have to do any of the countermeasures. You know, so you could skill your way around strategy, which is sometimes fair. But it would basically take away from the strategy side of the game. Alright, lawsuit time. So let's quickly chuck all that up to the lawyer. Was not at their desk. I need a restroom on that floor is what I need. They have food because they have the fruit, I believe. Not saying compromised stories yet. Okay, so this will trigger more spies. We're already basically stuck the entire week hovering over the thing for spies, so that makes zero difference to anything. We'll go ahead and hit this. No spy this time. And Illustrator's still busy. You notice the spies quick? So I've noticed almost always my spies come from this side, and they'll be slightly higher up on this plane than the other ones, because they go behind the boxes. So I have noticed they are... Like, once you know what to watch for, and you are keeping an eye on it, it's not too difficult to spot them. So let's go ahead and get you here. And then we won't have the cartographer, because I don't have one of those. And then that's stuck. Here's the learning process. Yeah, no, I definitely struggled with spies for a good while, where spies got into my stuff quite a few times and caused some mayhem. It's one of the reasons why when there's spies going on, you'll notice I'm pausing constantly. What a big part of it is managing to watch for them. That's actually the thing I think will be the hardest part of if you are doing the no pause achievement. Is it's going to be spies. I think in that one, you just make yourself very spy-averse. You don't have to do a bunch of the different objectives. I think it's just basically play through and get to the other side. Yeah, so we're waiting. She still has 2 days left. You'll be available in 9 in-game hours. And your stories are all still wide open. I've also noticed the spies always seem to be fast walkers. Which you have some here that fast walk and they're not the spy. But it kind of helps you, like, isolate, okay, that one could be a spy, they're moving quick. So if you jump on this one. Alright. International allies praise difficult policy shift. A lot of good tags in that one. We are still waiting for you to finish your thing. Still waiting for you on that one. So we risk police fine. Joe here cancels police fine, so we'll have Joe start that one. Clash with police. 5 communists got shot. Oh, and it was mentioned later, if there was a Sim Tower update, the closest successor to the game is Project High Rise, but it had some bugs. It didn't hit the key note that Sim Tower nailed. In other words, the elevators. Sim Tower is an elevator simulator with a game built into it later. Yeah, no, it's when you play Sim Tower, it's all about managing the movement of your employees between your people, I should say, not employees. The movement of people between floors. Like early on, it's like, oh, I need this service and that service, and later on, it's like, no, I just need to move people efficiently between all of the things I'm already offering. Like, they just bottleneck so hard in those elevators if you don't figure it out. So having like express elevators that only hit critical floors. Because it was initially built as training optimization software for elevator management. The game concept came later. Neat. Okay, so which one of these is the one? Okay, so that one's got to its next stage. Wendy, you can jump on that one. These communists are a threat to America. Was the title there. Let's see, that's really cool game design. The spine doesn't just walk out in the open. They walk near the buildings. Yeah, and that's the idea, is they walk near the buildings. They'll even walk, like, one of the big tells is if you have your stack of boxes here, they walk behind the boxes and no one else will. So it's like they're trying to hide, but the fact that they're trying to hide kind of makes them stand out. That is an absolute rubbish article that I should not be putting time on, but I just need number of time things. Unprofitable harbor in crisis, morale low amongst investors. Okay, you're not quite ready. Okay, so you can jump on that last piece. Family tree unveiled. Cool. So with that one, that's our last priority thing. That might not make it in time, though, unfortunately. We didn't get that last piece until pretty late. And it does have to go through the whole process. Okay, so we'll see how they do there. Meanwhile, nothing is showing as compromised by anyone being in here. We got one sloppy writing, but that's not sabotage. That's my new reporters being not good yet. I've got my one person who's assigned to just move the boxes. Just goes down, grabs 2 boxes, comes back, grabs the next one. You're just about to be done there. Okay, so whoever takes this one has a good chance of getting injured. Hey, Annie, you're new, and you only have 1 level in crime stuff. Here's your big break. Yeah, so you saw where I clicked in the middle and it snapped over to the left. Well, Annie's unavailable. Hey, Jim, jump on it. Okay. Payroll car ambush, deadly gunfire, and crossing. Hey, you know what? I give my... That's a spy there, slightly close to the buildings, gonna go behind these boxes. I give my fresh talent the opportunities to take on the hard jobs. So they can prove themselves. They might also be the high-risk jobs, and they might be slightly expendable, but we wouldn't be mostly ethical news, or mostly ethical media, if, you know, we didn't bend a few ethics. Okay, so this one we don't have a cartographer, so we're just gonna cancel the rest of that. So if Annie gets hurt, will you ask her, "Are you okay, Annie? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Are you okay?" I got the reference. Okay, diplomat doomed amidst issues. Disappointment among party members. Cool. Those, for the record, those ones I'm taking there are really garbage news articles. They're giving me just 1 bronze badge. But because it's not a quality I need for this, I just need any stories to link up. I'm willing to take a hit on my overall my overall, like, money, just to lock it in. You just can't help the dad jokes? Oh yeah, no, that's totally fine. We'll have Stella take this. Stella's another one who's not a very experienced person, but her big thing is she has this power broker trait, which makes any article she has have an extra publish point, and it's per segment. So sometimes when you get a story that's like 4 segments and all politics, I will have her slowly work through that entire story herself. Because if I do that, then, you know, we end up getting a ton of influence from it. I have a lot of people who could take this. No one who specifically should. Carrie can take it. Greater order add shift. We need more roads fast, says federal operator. We got nothing in Europe right now. We got a little bit more politics, and then we're about out of those. Checking to make sure no stories are being tampered with. Because they will be marked once a story has been altered, then there's nothing you can do about it to fix it. You missed your opportunity to prevent it. Alright, 1 second. They're falling behind here. So have one. You can have one. Because you can manually grab the stuff off the desk. You have 2 over there. You can have one. Have another. There you go. Okay. So just gave in my my people who haul stuff up and down. Oh, another spy right there. Just giving a hand to my supply people. Okay, so you can boost this one to having 2 stars. Miami Regatta set. Breeze favors quick start. And I honestly don't need to have them edit this. This is going to be a good story. It's going to be 3 silver and 2 bronze, and all I have to do... Oh, cartography. It's going to be an okay story. It's going to be 2 bronze and a silver. Getting cartography would be good. So there's our spy. I'll deal with our new story in a minute. I want to get the spy first. There you go. And spy's out of here. Okay, so we got our last political story. Yeah, Mike could jump on that. Okay, historic falling head office. Legislature, this is bad. So I have no more stories aligned to that kind of stuff. All the rest of the stories we'll just put whatever. Not really a great angle. So Wendy, you're new. Go ahead and take it. Underdog triumphs with taped racket. 5 set price. Finally won. Yeah, no, I definitely see like getting your forever run going. You would just hit a point where you start going like every week, going here and being like, okay, who has the best existing, you know, base trait? Like, you'd probably have a couple of traits you'd go out of your way for. And I think, like, one of the biggest ones I've seen is there's one that it's, like, breatharian, which is a person who doesn't need to eat or ever use the toilet. I think that's one of, like, your S-tier traits, because it just means your person works indefinitely and never stops to ever take care of any of their needs. You know, which every boss wants an employee who never, ever, ever, ever has to take a break. Airspace ban over White House. Heightened security measures. And so, like, that's a good one. There's a trait that, depending on the tags in a story, it'll just bump the quality up. You had a bot who was into breatharianism? the idea of just being able to breathe your nutrition. Alright, so she gets a bonus if she's the second person that maxed out the quality. Last year's winner was the best numbers. Nothing's been tampered with. We're good about the spy, so... Oh, actually, it no longer has the spy icon on the top. Maybe it just triggered to have like 3 or 4 or 5 spies. We'll still keep an eye just in case. Let's see. So you can jump on that. Intrigue in the stadium. Talks of sell uneasy tennis fans. Your takeaway was as a pro Anna with a... This makes me spiritually... Oh, yeah. It wasn't my direct boss, but I definitely had a boss that they were very... Like, they worked out, and they were like, don't get me wrong, the guy took really amazing care of his body, he worked out, he was really good about that. He was, you know, he would go to church and all, but he did it for, like, the wrong reasons, just lord it over you. It was more about him saying, I'm a better person than you are, than anything specific to that. He was an ass. Underground triumphs with taped racket. Crowd carries off champion. Because, like, you know, working out, taking good care of care of yourself, being spiritual, all that, that's A-okay. Like, live your life the best to your fullest you can. But using that as a way to be like, oh, this other person is a lesser person than me because they don't live their life the way I choose to, that's just being a crappy person. Coach's arguable selection. Media doubts recent ploy after failing competition. So that is the last news article for the week. So we just process what we process. And now we're just going to still keep our eye on spies, because that's the only thing that could ruin things, is while we don't see the spy icon up there, there's always the possibility it'll, like, reappear. I also have a lawsuit. Why is my lawsuit not being handled? Okay, well, it looks like you're going to get fined in this lawsuit. I think the issue is because there's not enough stuff like there needs being taken care of on that floor, that the lawyers keep having to go in, getting stuck on the elevator, going to the other floors, and then just losing all that time with the elevator. Okay, so we can't do the cartography, so that story's as done as it's gonna be. Your boss wasn't a jerk about it. He was an extremely bad influence at the time, when that was the last message you needed. All's well ends well. Well, for me anyways. Oh, that's good. You know, I've worked under a number of people who are very religious, and, like, honestly, a lot of cases I have a lot of respect, you know, for them and, you know, their views and their activity. It was just that one person was just a jerk about everything. It didn't matter what it was. Like, he would be a jerk that he went to school and got a degree, but it's a more prestigious school than yours. He just wanted to, you know, be above you. Prompting adjustments in aviation flight pass. I've had mostly good experiences with bosses in the past. Like, and that wasn't a direct boss. That was, I had my boss as a person aside. You're hustling. You spy? You spy? You spy? You keep walking. Buy my newspaper. There, I'll give you some toilet paper. But you don't see the spy icon up here, so I think we're in the clear. But I'm just being paranoid. Oh no, you're all good. You're all good, Elena. I've had conversations about stuff in the past, like working retail and software dev and all that stuff. I'm pretty open about a lot of that. And generally speaking, like I said, most of the people I've worked for have been quite excellent. There's been one or two that was not the case, but generally speaking, it's been mostly good stuff. Alright, well, you have a good lurk. Thank you again for lurking. Okay, so what we want is we want to get our really good stories. I'm going to go and check for influence first, because some of those ones are good value. We don't have a good influence story, so that's fine. So, let's start checking some of our good yellow tags. Alright. So, I've got 3 unveiling stories here, or revealing stories here. 2 of them are stale, which does suck quite a bit. I think my best one is this one here. It's a gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze. But I'm going to go ahead and, despite that, I'm going to go ahead and chuck both of these other stories on. We're going to take a penalty because of having 2 stale stories there. But that does give me my combo for crime. And now let's go to our second one, that we are looking for story on finance. So we want to find our best finance story. This is a really good story here that has also got a bunch of stuff going on for it. It is also a crime and a finance story. 2 silver tags on it. That's a good one with 2 silver tags on it. They don't match up with my other silver tags, but I'm going to go with it anyways. And that gives us a match there. Let's see. Do we have any good... We got a really good sports story here. That aligns on that. So next is I need a politics combo. I was about to say, please don't be short in politics. Okay, so we got a really solid politics story right there. Not a lot of good politics stories that are ready, unfortunately. We're kind of scraping the barrel on this category. So what I might do here is this one's got 3 categories. We'll drop that. So that'd satisfy everything we need to defeat them. So now, let's go and see what we needed the alarming story. So unfortunately, the alarming story is kind of a crap story. We'll chuck it there. That'll be a decent combo. And then we're going to look for the illustration. So the illustration's entertainment. We can put that... Did not get done. The illustration did not get done in time, so we won't be able to take the district. But that's fine. This is still going to be, we knock out one of our competitors entirely, they'll stop existing. So, let's go ahead and we'll put a big old ad here, and an ad here. We get page number 4 is also going to be an ad. So, page 4 is just ads. Got a lot of statistics stories. Let's actually check our gold tags. So breakthroughs. I don't have any breakthrough stories ready. Evidence. I only have 1 stale evidence story. That's worth considering. Alright, so we don't have any other really good stories. Do we have any statement stories to combine with that? Yeah, so we have a stale statement story here. And we're slightly on the informative side, so as much variety of tags as we have gives me extra sales. We're doing relatively fine on that. We actually have every category is represented. Let's see. None of these are European. We do have both crime. We have crime, politics, and social we can lean on. Let's see if we can find one that's either crime, politics, social, or tragedy. Or some combination thereof. This is a pretty good one. It is 3 bronze and a silver tag. That might be what we get. No tie-in whatsoever, which is pretty awful. But I'm not really seeing anything else you can make the tie-in. Usually the last page ends up being pretty messy. I need to load more paper. We did manage to get 1,000 paper loaded this time before I manually intervened, which is better. Definitely could use getting more through there. I need almost 2,000. I'm assuming one thing that would really help with all this is... You know what would be interesting is I'm willing to bet I could get every single piece but the input on one floor and have just the input machine on the bottom floor. And then with that, have all the shelves there. So that the person loading the machine just would run back and forth. Like, go to the dumbwaiter, grab what the bottom person brings up. And then just, like, kind of run back and forth and just feed the machine. So basically have someone whose entire goal is to just load the paper. That's all they do. Which I kind of have that, it's just the problem is to take care of their needs. They do have to run to the other floors. If I get a chance to snag someone who can work stocking without, like, basically go our way to get ourselves breatharians for everything, I would absolutely do that. It would be also amusing to have your entire company be like, are there bathrooms? No. Is there food? No. We don't provide those for our staff. They don't need it. They've got a proper commitment to their workplace. Basic human needs, not on my time. They never get to go home. Yep. Oh, I need more paper than that. I gotta double check. I wasn't even looking at the money we're making. But the fact that we'd be going through 2,100 plus paper... How many am I selling? Are we breaking into 700,000? Sales. $653,000. From the base thing, not counting anything else up here. Alright, so with that... Like I said, we unfortunately didn't finish the illustration. I made the comment that I thought there's too many illustrations that something wasn't going to make it through, and that ended up unfortunately being true. But this means we've got the defeat on the Empire Observer, which is one of your two competitors. They're generally the competitor that tends to be more informational. Yep, and I just got an achievement for defeating the Empire. And that's our record sales week. And a solid like 20,000 in the bank. And we gave our other competitor a... Hopefully they don't strike back. That was it? That was your knockout punch? I've seen puzzle pieces with more bite. Always knew your father was a weak line in the family. Okay. Alright, we get lots of ads. And a lot of people leveled up. Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's different times you get to submit your score. So you could submit your score based on 5 and 10 years. You can submit your score based on beating either of the two main rivals. So we'll submit that. So for the people who did defeat the Empire Observer, I'm the 108th from the top. So we are up here with all that stuff. All right. So we can leave the recap. All right. So the next step is to get the mob sorted. This is it, publisher. The moment I tip the scales, the entire city's watching. How this vote goes down. We can't afford to be shy if we want to come up with on the top. Hey, Uncle, stop shivering. You look like a fish out of water. Sorry, Don, I could use a glass of water. Not now. I'm talking about our winning pawn here, Uncle. Like it or not, every word in your newspaper sways dock workers. I'm the one keeping food on their table, and the wolves at bay. Let's remind them who really cares here. That's right, and our rivals are itching to sabotage just that. But we've got the edge. Your paper. One knockout edition filled with my campaign ads, promoting Full Stop as the top candidate is a road to victory. We'll win this by blood, sweat, and ink, publisher. And while you're at it, skip the economy pages. Last thing we need right now is for folks reading doom and gloom right before voting. Okay, so I need to have 4 pieces of mafia stories. And we get a bonus of influence for every propaganda piece I put out. But I am not allowed to print out any economic news this week. So go ahead and accept that. I'm just going to keep this on exactly the same place as we've got it. Yeah, because illustrations can show up anywhere at all, so that's fine. And none of the other people matter because we've already selected who we're going with. And now... So, you take it all. I guess borderless ambition runs deeper in this family than I thought. Mark my words, one day you'll choke on the same ink that you used to drown me. So we're gonna see you at Thanksgiving, right, Uncle? No hard feelings? Right? You're gonna be there? And you know it's gonna be a good time. Grandma will appreciate it. Right? Right? Oh hey, I only have one oh, that's the arrest thing. I don't even think that's a lawsuit. Either way, we're down to the last box. Today's the last day to sort it. Okay, so if we check on what we need, we need mob stuff. Likely discovered in ads. Oh, that is a very different... Okay, that's actually going to be really rough. So we need to stay on top of this, because apparently what I need to do is when you wanted me to run ads, you mean you want me to run ads. There's just the one? You said I need to run 4. So we've got one ad here that has to be run. Likely discovered in ads, 4 tags remaining. Okay. Oh, there's the second page. Oh no, what have you done to me, man? Oh, and they require photos and illustrations on all of them. I can't scale up to that amount, I don't think. New floor going on the building. Alright, okay. Alright. So, we need to improve our throughput on our stuff. That's not really what I wanted to do with this next floor. But I'm coming to the realization that that's going to have to happen. So, right now we go from the dark room. These are just reporters I got shoved in here because I needed someplace to put them. We need the chemical area. So, things that we could do to help this is, one, I can put a bathroom in here. If I put a bathroom in here, that will allow them to not have to leave the floor to take care of their basic needs. That's probably the biggest one, is just having a bathroom and food on this floor. The other thing we could do is potentially increase the amount of the stuff we have. Okay. I think that's the plan. I think the plan is to improve the efficiency isn't to just chuck down more. It's to deal with some of these needs issues. So you go up here. I'll deal with you in a minute. Right now you just need to get out of my way. We've already got the tile floor here and everything. So I'm going to have the bathroom kind of in the middle here. That's probably not where I should have it. So let's go here. We've got... Okay, so move you for a minute. Move you for a minute. Bring you back. I'm concerned about this light being too close. We'll see. Alright, so I've got that scooched over so that the person in the dark room can retrieve it, drop it in there. They'll still have to run across that floor, which is not amazing. But realistically, without a massive overhaul of the building and more space, that ain't going away. We will need water, so we'll get that here. We will need our comforts. So we're going to go over here, and you always have a clock. The clocks are amazing and overpowered. To a point that, you know, please nerf. We've got smell control, so you can go ahead and put a sink right there. And a sink over here. And then we could go to this. Plunked a second wall. Okay, and we'll check on our needs. So that's fine. I do have more space here that I can use for something. So one thing we could potentially do, I don't know if there's even a good way to track this. So you're at 9, 8, 7. So 9, 8. So 9, 8, 6. So 9, 8, 6. So what we can do is take that off and take that off. So you're at 8, 6, 7, or 8, 7, 6. So you can just go between these 3 floors to take care of your needs. I do have space here we can use for something. And we've got you up here. This is one of the areas to deal with real fast. And I am noticing we are right about at our power limit. And I am not ready to tackle expanding all my power. So I've got this news reporting area set up. I will want to go to your needs. Because again, we don't want people running up and down stairs if they don't have to. I'm going to pop over here, drop a toilet in there. Drop a wall here. We'll grab a light. We'll need to get you the wallpaper that makes it less likely to stink. And then we can take the needs. Also for smell counter, we could drop that there. We need the clock, because the clock is overpowered and does everything. And we're at 99% power, but those needs are all met. Okay, so I still have an open spot here that feels like it should get used by something. I might make that a second person to only work the bottom floor. Let's go ahead and get ourselves another supply desk in here. So utility, supply. Do we have anyone amazing? Faster XP. I'm gonna reroll that. Reroll that. Fast mover, deal. And you just deal with the bottom 2 floors. Because you just load boxes. That's what you do here. You get that dumbwaiter loaded as fast as you possibly can. That's also a person who should pretty much never use the elevator, which should help out a great deal. There's your order list. There's your supply tools. There's your running shoes, and there's your file holder. Okay, so hopefully that works out. Alright. So, before we actually start into the week proper, I need to take my quick, quote-unquote, long break, which is about 5 minutes to run downstairs, throw some food in the oven, welcome my wife home, that kind of thing. And then I'll be right back up, we'll continue this. So we've already knocked out the Empire. At this point, I just need to finish up with the mob. And for the mob, we have... I just need one last point. Now, I don't know if when I finish this, that makes it done, or we will have, like, the Empire Observer, that there'll be, like, one more thing after that. So we'll go ahead and figure that out in a minute, but let me just go ahead and step away, do that quick break, and I'll be back in just a couple minutes, and thank you again for tuning in. Okay, and I am back. Alright, so we gotta run a bunch of press for the mob and no press about economy. And so we're gonna go in here and we want to toggle every one of these except economy. This one tells me likely discovered in ads. We did check our ad thing. And oh wait, that's right. That's right, literally it's all in ads. We'll see if I can get those done. I'm a little concerned about that. But yeah, so we just need to run as many ads as possible. That there's a second page here. So every single time one of these finishes, I need to immediately get my ad people on the next one. I'm a little concerned about that. And maybe getting a second ad desk. Yeah, so you can just jump on that. We're not going to go the camera route in this one. As much as that's the right decision normally. And the reason we're going to do that is just the fact that my camera's going to be tied up doing the ads. Can I make another camera desk happen? We can. We can make another camera desk happen. Or, not camera, I'm sorry. I said camera, but I mean sales. Where is our sales desk? Type setting, doing all the sales. Okay. That's fine. I actually don't care what your deal is. Alright, so we got a second salesperson going. Because I need these all going faster. So you are working on... That one requires an illustrator. You require a camera. To be fair, looking at this, I don't actually need the second part. I'm going to try and go for it. Yeah, you know what? I don't need the second part. Yeah, that's fine. We'll go for the camera spot. I just realized I only need the first part to achieve the goal. The second part's worth bonus. Okay. So this one we can get 2 silver, 2 bronze, and 2 separate sets of influence, so 4 influence. I'm willing to do that. Okay, so we'll have you jump on this. Let's see. Illiteracy sweeps rural towns. Authorities introduce new school programs for remote areas. Which way do we want to lean our paper this week? This week, we want it to be just neutral, moderate. Alright. We got finance here. Yeah, so you would risk some unrest. That's fine. So we'll have Mike jump on that, and did not instantly get the next one. Troubling to find finance. Financial grievance strangles manufacturers. And then we got our, our article here. That's 2 bronze and a silver. I didn't realize I have 2 separate people out in the hospital right now. You can jump on this one. Let's see, life begins at 8:40, ends run. 237 performances come to a close. Yeah, we don't have a spy to deal with right now, so that's good news. Well, you're gonna spin it. I'm okay with that. Missing child. Boy never came home after school. Oh, we can switch you back to... Alright, so we did get hit with a small part of that lawsuit. Okay. We have a risk of an injury here for a bronze and a gold. You know what? Hey, Jim. And you got lucky. No injury for Jim. 2 copper mines flooded. 5 miners missing since last night. And we got our finance story here. Have Jerry take that one. Let's see. Timber shortage. Local mills face supply crisis. It does make you wonder, when you beat your competitors, do suddenly all the spies just stop? Because they would no longer have spies to send after you. Okay, so that should be the first ad has finished its first segment. So let's get the illustrator on it. And that means we can now go to the next ad and get you on this part. And we want to go to this. You are now a priority. And you are a priority. And you are a priority. Because we want all those mob ads to get through. Those are the priority. Okay. I gotta wait for someone to become available. Cool. Star power of classic hit. Hit its run, says director. Get a bunch of stories that have stuff that needs to get done. This would be the second phase. So I do have a spare photographer. We could chuck Duncan on... Let's chuck Chris on this one. Duncan's faster. So Chris will go and jump on that one. Distraught miners out alive. And then we got this one. This way gives me 2 bronze. That'll be the better one at the second segment. Oh, that's crime angle. Hey, Wendy. You go ahead and take it. You gotta get better at your job. Boy found in basement of kidnapper. And then we got another one of Hamburg. Actually, Hamburg. But same thing. So that boosts us up to 3 quality and gives us 2 influence. And I'll need one going the other way as soon as Jason becomes available. There's so many stories going so fast. Okay. Volunteers assist with teaching difficult terrains. I got a story on Madrid for finance. Let's see. So Jerry is about to be available. Let's wait on Jerry, because Jerry can prevent the outrage. So Jerry's going to prevent that outrage from happening at all. And I can pop back over here to all our stories in this area. So this is another one that wants a camera. Alright. Reckless motoring alarms counting another crash at dusk. Now we got you here. Doesn't really matter who takes it. That'll boost it up to 3. And that'll trigger spies. Grab that food and fill that up for him. Okay, so I'm learning I don't need 2 people standing right here. You 2 go run downstairs, and you help load that thing up. Okay. So we need one to deal with the crime stuff. So we'll have Wendy jump on that, because that'll still give me 1 star for quality there. We can let that. So blood tests approved by court, forensics in focus. So I'll have 2 more things to deal with on that part of it. Let's take a peek at our ads, make sure those are still moving. So we do need a camera available. So Chris will be able to jump on that. Come on, Chris. Okay. So that's one of the propaganda things there. That means you're free. You're about to be free. Okay, so we need a second camera here. And I need Gregory here to get available. So I can toss Gregory on this ad. It's taking too long. Alright. So I don't have any news that's specific for that area. Alright, so for you, let Ella jump on that, maxing out its quality. So forensic numbers show low chance of economic recovery, says disappointed banker. We've got this one here. It's still not terrible. It'd be nice to get the extra silver and bronze. I'm still gonna get 3 bronze and a silver. It's not great, but it's not awful. We'll have Frank can jump on that one. Flooding causes damage across communities. Rush to protect local infrastructure. So we can pop over here. So we have to choose a path here. Either way, it's 2 bronze. This is the kind of story I want to chuck on one of the newer people. Let's go for the political side, because you'll get the extra influence out of that. Rate hike sparks square protest. Board votes increase. We got Minneapolis. We've got an influence thing. We can have Mike maybe skip us ahead. Did not do it. More pilots needed. Soon there will be thousands of airplanes. Okay, so Duncan's about to be back. Oh, sorry, you're already doing that one. Okay, so you're available to jump on this one. Oh, come on. We got Duncan on that photo there. Meanwhile, we can go ahead and grab you. Get people working on those other ads. Okay, so here's a priority one. So for this one, I mean, if you jump on this part to get that done, you can jump on this part to get this done. Reserve fears Grip City. Officials push for quick remedies. Then we got a sport or a political one here. You can jump on the crime angle. They have no one available to do the politics angle. Alright, so let's go check our stuff. Make sure we got things prioritized. So this is the one that is for the district. That's for the mob. That's for the mob. That's for the mob. Being weird about me clicking and moving here. Okay. And that's the mob. Alright, so we got all the mob stuff ready, and they're giving about 1.2 days of the estimate for a lot of them. Okay, so we need Wendy to become available, so I got someone to knock out the politics side of this. Or actually, was this one also have a politics angle? No, you need an illustrator. There's just so much happening so fast now. I think part of that's just with the number of news reporters. As you add more news reporters, it just makes things faster. Like, you end up getting the news quicker, getting it ready faster, which is all good. But it can be a little overwhelming in how much happening. Alright, so we've got the illustrator available on that one. You are still doing your stuff there. And then we've got this one here, and you can go ahead and take that. Can we find enough of them, enough pilots to guide them? Alright. So we need to check, because that ad, we didn't have everything set yet. Okay. We're down to that last ad being sorted. We just need Gregory to finish their thing, so we can get them onto the next ad just to keep them going. Come on. Yep, Doctors Yepper, Borders Noper. As a reminder, we do have the Rimworld Hot Potato going on right now. Not on this channel. I don't know who's currently in the hot seat. It might be Mortal Smurf? Mortal Smurf. It's either Mortal Smurf or whoever was right after Mortal Smurf. Okay, so we're getting 2 spies. Government action looms, says spokesman. Scavenging mechanic. Yes, so the Rimworld Hot Potato is going on. It's a event the stream team that I'm on hosts every year to raise money for Doctors Without Borders playing Rimworld, where they share one save pile between a whole bunch of different people playing Rimworld and all that. But yes, it sounds like Scavenging Mechanics is the current one up, up on the T, as it were. But yeah, that save file keeps getting passed around. It's for a good cause. This year I'm doing kind of a really fun thing with it that When I say I am interviewing, I actually already have done the interview. I had to record in advance just because of availability of everyone involved. But I'm interviewing a person who's worked with Doctors Without Borders for over 15 years. She's like 70 years old, is a global disaster nursing specialist that is like deployed to like Ukraine and everything. Even like in just like the last year or two has gone out to the Ukraine, and again, she's like 70 years old and, you know, doing mental health care and all that, and like really inspiring person, just how much is going on there. But it's a good cause. But yeah, that's all going on. So I also understand, like, you know, things maybe being a little bit more quieter this week, just as everyone's keeping up with that, because that's like big news. I need to keep an eye on. We do have. I didn't see if it's 1 or 2 spies. I don't remember. Okay, so you're available to finish that story. Because that's the issue right now, is I do not have enough people to do all the things I need doing. I need that illustrator to finish what they're doing. What are you waiting on? Another illustrator. Yeah, I went from not really needing more one illustrator or camera person or anything on a real level to just suddenly we're just slammed. Let's see. That's a pretty good one. Reforms inspire workers and revitalize production. So we can have you jump on this. You might skip us ahead. And you didn't. Authorities launch programs to modernize factories. Okay. Still need my illustrator to be available. Alright, so you can take this one and maybe get us a gold tag. You did not. And you can boost this up by 2 quality. Bank robbers get $18,000. Blew up vault, First National Bank in Gatlin. Okay. You can jump on that one. Students want boxing at Columbia. Boxing outside our etiquette, says President Butler. Okay, so she's finally ready. They're facing lawsuits. Let's actually double check what that article was. Reserve fears grip city. Local bank caught short. And what we can do now is go down here to that story and prioritize that. I don't think that's going to get through with all the mafia stuff we've got working. Even that's going to be a whole thing. You are still not available for more work here. And they're still working on that news. All right. Hi, wifey.
Here's your pizza.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
You enjoy. Love. Okay. So let's go ahead and check in this. So Jerry's going to take, because Jerry's the only one available and all that stuff. Let's see. Chorus Girls win billing. Names left off poster. Yep. Big ol' feels bad. Okay, we got our spy just showed up on the far left. That one right there. Okay, and you're not available yet. Neither are any of you. As soon as the spy makes her way in the building, we'll do like an update to see where everything's at. I think the next major spend I'm going to do with the influencing stuff is trying to get the chemical stuff set up. Where's that spy? Did I miss the spy? I did. Did you get a chance to mess anything up? Yeah, just that fast, she tampered all of those. All they have to do is walk by and tampered all of that. I think that's something they probably should change, that they have to be there for a second or two to tamper. That's one of the reasons I feel like the spy is very disproportionately bad compared to any other event in the game. Are you liable to expand much more? I think you need the elevator system. I have an elevator. We're using an elevator. I would like to get a second one going, but we'll see if that ever happens. Let's see. Candidate goes there. Or do they have one at the time starting the both? Or they do one at a time? Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking, is it should be that they go by and they like hit one or two and it takes them a second to do it. Like, I'm down with them being able, if you like don't catch them, to just absolutely wreck you. But it's the fact that they walk past the counter and just everything's ruined instantly. Impresario restores billing, curtain rises late. Yeah, so you can boost the quality here. Workers and leaders collaborate to increase output amid reforms. And you're still working on that. You can work on this one. We're almost out of news for the week. You go and take that one. Hospital opens, blood bank, nurses trained in method. We got a story from New Orleans. Sculptor whispers about deceit. Conversations overheard in mansion. Unless there's a second spy that I've missed this whole time. So that could be another possibility. Because my security guard is no longer well placed. It's just I need to keep moving stuff around, make room for more and more stuff. You can jump on that ad. Nope, there's the other spy. Okay. Yeah, no, I probably could use a second elevator, having like one be the primary elevator and one be like an express elevator. Builder buys. Jack Brewer acquires big plot for 9 two-family homes. Well, we got both spies out of here. Wendy could jump on that. Incumbent mayor loses re-election. Mayor concedes race. Okay. So where are we at with all this? Yeah, so you're leading on that. Some of those aren't going to get done in time. hopefully the ads will get done. No, the ads are still at the sales desks. Like, they're literally finishing the pictures. Why are the ads stuck? So you're at the sales desks. You chuck that down there. Where's my other sales desks? You're not stuck at the sales desk. Why are you lying to me? Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. So that ad's fine. Let's go ahead and sort by the Mafia tag, because these are the important ones. So that one's done. Okay, you're fine. You're the one who's stuck at the sales desk. You're fine. Okay, so I have one here that was stuck at the sales desk. Forget that. Take it to the typesetter. I'm gonna try and manually smash it through real quick. Because if I miss any of them, I miss all of them. So we're gonna watch for that ad to bounce to the other side and just immediately kick it up to the assembler. Yeah, so our typesetters aren't keeping up anymore. Which isn't super surprising. The speed I'm getting through these is way faster now. Okay. Come on, man. I need you to get those ads done. It is what it is. I think we're gonna fail at the finish here. So basically we need more typesetters. And we're gonna need to move these around. Okay, there's that ad. So you've got 3 there. You've got... Okay, so you've got, like, nothing here. So I got that one over there being processed. I just need this ad to get set here, and we can kick it across the finish line. Okay, so you've got 2 articles here. You've got that ad. You've got 1 picture and 1 article there. Your best bet of getting through in time is to be the second one in that table. Okay, so with that... Oh, we also have an ad slug here. So I'll manually kick that over. Okay, how are you doing? Cool. So that ad's about to get done. So that's fine. So we'll have the minimum required to satisfy things. We're going to be missing out on the pictures on most of these. But that I kind of already said was going to be a thing. So, things we gotta fix in the next in-game week, if this doesn't end things, is I think we're at the point I need more typesetters. They're just not keeping up anymore with all the upgrades. We are just continue to expand. So, I think what I want to do is to also help give us a little bit more protection against spies, is I think we're going to kind of move them up here somewhere, and then force the pneumatic tubes to be used. Okay, so we have our first one. So if we look at our requirements here, I've got the editorial. It did not get done in time. So that's just not going to make it. Alright. So let's look at our stories with gold tags. So I got a pretty good opener here. That's got a lot of stuff in it. We cannot print economics. So you can put you in here and you in here. Let's check European news. We got a really good piece here. It is compromised. We'll swap those, because that'll give me a bunch of influence. Okay. Can't print that one. It's got economics. We have any other gold ones here? What about unveiling? Nothing there. Forecast, nothing there. Camera. We've got you. And a second with camera. Let's go check in the mob ones. Okay, that's an illustration, not a camera one. We have society. This is going to be probably a pretty badly performing one. Okay, so here's the actual article with the illustration. So, like I said, this one, the illustration did not make it in time. So we're going to kick the illustration. Cool. And this one, the photo didn't make it in time, so get rid of the photo. Okay. None of those ads got done in time. We do have a really good ad for politics. Alright, Bassett, you have a good one. Okay, meanwhile, we need to get this last mob one in here. So again, we're going to get rid of the photo that didn't happen in time. We can tie that in with the politics side. Okay, so that means we've satisfied everything we need to achieve that. Let's go and look at politics and see if there's any other good ones we can run. It's not amazing, but it'll do. Now, if I get... Oh, I can't do a finance. I was going to say, if I get a finance at a sports, I get a big boost in sales, but I can't do finance because of the mob thing. Let's see. Educational. Fame. Statistics. Ah, two of them are finance. I was about to be like, statistics, I can work with that, but two of them are finance, the other one's a sloppy. We're just gonna have a bad news week, which makes sense. We're giving up at least a page and a third strictly for Mafia propaganda, effectively. So understandably, Mafia propaganda isn't exactly gonna be our main moneymaker kind of thing normally. Let's go and switch you to the ones that are ready. And collapse those so I don't care. Alright, so we got 2 bronze and a silver. Gotta skip all those. 2 bronze and a silver under entertainment. So it looks like I'm probably gonna have a really bad sports page for the last page. It's about as good as it's gonna get. Okay, so we satisfied that. We're going to only make 16,000 this time. Like I said, we didn't get the thing we need for the district because we were focused on the mob, which is what we should be focused on. We do have enough paper loaded this time, and I did not have to manually load it. So if anything's a major win, it means I've got my infrastructure finally set up that they just get the work done. But a big thing is going to be reducing the dependence there. Complete the Mafia storyline achievement. The main hope for the nation lies in the proper education of its youth. Politics don't have to be boring. Alright. And we didn't make any progress in the district. So we now have the Union office. You did it, publisher. With those ads, the docks are ours. Leo's got the vote. The workers know who keeps them fed. We're on top. This city is willing to hear a lot from us. Or a lot more from us. And we got a random object, which was some fruit in a bowl. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so now I could keep doing these and, like, the reputation wouldn't mean anything. So that's one thing. At this stage, I'd probably switch over to doing high society. What? Print a minimum number of quality stars to meet the requirement. Well, I'm going to do that easy. So we'll deal with that. But with that, we now have the union boss. We have the mobster risk reduction. So we can wage discount, manipulate your employees and agree to lower wages. Monthly wage cost reduced by 10%. Excellent. So we are now underpaying our employees. We can reduce the risks of the mob in general. And it also brings up, we want to go to the courthouse, because I want to reduce the lawsuit risk, so that basically I will have only less severe stuff there. We can grab the law books for our lawyer, the justice scale for our lawyer, and we don't have room for the Lady Liberty statue. Okay. So we're probably going to be pivoting here in just a minute, because that's kind of the big objectives I wanted to set out to do, was finish one of the faction endings and all that. Okay, so there's your thing. There's your law books. We got our lawyer juiced up as best we can. And we got more apples. So you need food on your floor. Oh, you have that. Is there any of these floors that don't have food? Okay, so this floor here doesn't have food. So I'll drop some food on this table. Do you also... No, you have water. We're adding food onto that floor. There'll be one less need they gotta run around for. But yeah, so... That's been pretty good. We've been playing this game for about... This is our 5th stream. And... We didn't have, like, an intentional goal at the beginning of this. I figured it was going to be a stream or two just because people were interested in the game and all that, and, you know, people's interests would move on and all that. You know, typical things that happen with games. But to this stage, we have completed one of the two, like, you can do 2 main faction stories per, you know, per run. You might technically be able to do 3, but I think it'd be a lot of effort. You can do 2 factions, and you can eliminate 2 of your competitors. We did eliminate one of our competitors, and we did you go for 10 years. The thing is, I don't want to, because that's committing to like 5 more streams of this, and I don't really want to put that much time in on the game. It's like on stream. Like there's other games I want to check out. I also don't think realistically people's interests hold on this. It's gone way longer than I expected it to, but you know, these are kind of games that you usually can't get away with, you know, dozens of streams or whatever on it. But I very much have enjoyed this game. I do think what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to be pivoting over to Surviving Mars Relaunched, which it's effectively my first time playing. I did play Surviving Mars, the original, right when it came out, like one stream. Really enjoyed what I played. There's just too much coming out at the time. Would be cool to see some of the World War stuff. I mean, we're in that time frame. Like, people have come to power, there's war. I mean, okay. I don't think you're going to see anything there. I think you're just going to see, like, some headlines change. And that's about it. I don't think it's going to be a whole thing where you get, like, the play-by-play of what battles are going on. It'll just be, like, you know, war declared, and there'll be, like, a breaking news. And then that kind of thing. But yeah, no, the problem is to get the 10 years committing to 5 more streams. And I don't think that's realistic that people's interest would stay there. Like, it just... I imagine people be more than over me playing this game by then. It's been fun. I didn't expect to get like 4.5 streams out of this. Like, very genuinely, I was expecting people's interest to drop off after like 1, maybe 2 streams, because that's pretty typical when I play a Tycoon game. But like I said, this one's got a lot of layers, and I do believe that helped a whole lot. I don't think it's a thing I can get away with doing like multiple playthroughs and like trying the different factions and all that. Also, have you gone around to playing Dispatch at all? I know you said you wanted to do it on your own since it wouldn't fit the stream. I haven't yet. I've heard really good things. I've got it installed with the intent on playing it. I just had no time to do really much on my own. Like, you'll notice where I mentioned playing this game off stream, it's got like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that's it. Everything's been super duper hectic with the hot potato and then stuff outside all that. For those watching on YouTube, that part of the stream is going to drop for a minute because we're going to be switching over to Surviving Mars, and I gotta drop it to switch categories. So there's that. But everyone over here on the Twitch side, don't go anywhere, because what I'm gonna